Hello and welcome to the Deep Talk Podcast, a podcast and community dedicated to learning, growing, and connecting more deeply with ourselves and one another. I'm Madison Brandt, your host. Let's get started with this week's Deep Talk. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Talk Podcast. Today I have Copernicus on, and I'm so excited for you guys to join this chat. We're talking about chasing your dreams. We're talking about entrepreneurship. We're talking about blazing your own path, being a trailblazer. And the thing is that when you have a calling and when you are chasing your dreams, it is really important to you. I can almost guarantee that it is very important to you and close to your heart. So in this episode, we do not take it lightly that you are joining us with something as vulnerable and precious as the thing you care about most. We're here to encourage you, to offer some good wisdom and support. And just, he talks about his journey and the things he had to sacrifice, the things he wished he did differently, things that he did in the past that worked well. And I just think it's a really good conversation because it can feel isolating chasing your dreams. It can feel isolating building a business or doing your own thing, carving your own path. And so for anyone who wants that, this episode is for you. It's been a journey I've been on for a long time, and I know it can be hard and be discouraging. And so, this episode is to help encourage you and remind you that what you're doing is amazing and that you've got this. Let's dive in. Hey, everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Talk Podcast. I'm here with Copernicus. Welcome, and I'm so happy I can pronounce your name, and I'm grateful you're here.
It's such a privilege. Thank you so much just for the opportunity. I'm stoked to be here.
Yay! What have you been up to today?
You know, the usual workflow. It's as an entrepreneur, everybody can relate. It's pretty much the same day in, day out routine. Despite the highlight reels that we see on socials, I pretty much just do the same thing every single day. So a little bit of content editing, photo editing, stuff like that, and then some UGC brand stuff. I've started to do a lot more of that recently.
Yeah, cool. I feel like people think with the entrepreneurship that you're doing 4,000 different things, but it is low key a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel.
I mean, it's just literally it's the daily habits and the routines. That's what gets you to that final product that you're trying to build in the first place. And it's just a lot of
Yeah.
the same old stuff,
Are you,
different day kind of thing.
are you a routine person? Are you a structured person?
I like my routine, but I'm okay with deviating from it if necessary. A lot of people, I think they're so rigid with their routines that their whole world comes crumbling down if they don't know how to pivot.
Mm.
I like that adaptability factor. So if I have to attend to something and it was off my schedule, I'm not going to freak out. I just adapt, pivot, and then execute. So,
No, I love that. I think my problem is I feel like I love novelty, but I also love routine. And so I'll make routine and then I just I swear I just do it so I could just say no and do something else. I
yeah,
loved, I don't know. It's
yeah,
hard to having a strict morning and night routine. I don't know if you feel good at it or it helps you with your entrepreneur days, but I don't know. I
yeah.
can't get.
Yeah, I like some kind of North Star or just, certain, I guess, daily North Star. So, in the morning, typically start the day with just getting my body moving. I'm big into the fitness scene and I just love that. It kind of wakes my brain up, gets me ready for the
Yep.
day and the whole, do something hard at the beginning of the day that
Mhm.
it really does feel that way. And then the rest of the day is, yes, it's just work, but I'm like, okay, I really push myself first thing in the morning. I can take on the rest of the day and be fine. So that's kind of if I was going to say there's one staple of my days, it's definitely starting the day with movement. That's really the main
Yes.
thing.
Yes. I've been trying, I can't get up and do my workout yet, but I'm trying to get
Mhm.
up and do a walk and then
Yeah,
do I work out after my days. But getting up and walking has been a game changer. The just starting, also starting for you before you give yourself to all the things that you
mhm.
love and all the things that are not you that's feeling everything. So,
Yes, that's a great
yeah.
point. I think just grounding yourself, like not literally, I know the practice of grounding, but actually just grounding yourself and just finding you, like being where your feet are. That's just a huge thing for me. And I find something to where you have to be so intentional, whether it is going for a walk, just actually getting in tune with your thoughts. I mean, you have to set the tone for your day, right? Otherwise, somebody else is going to do it for you, and that's just
Yeah.
never a good time.
And that's not an entrepreneur life.
It's not.
You can have
No,
that.
no.
So what are you up to? I know you have your content, you said you juicy. Are those the two things or are there other pieces that you're doing?
Yeah, so my main bread and butter is definitely producing content for some brands locally. I help with some podcast engineering and stuff like that, like on the back end. But yeah, it's really just video and photo content for like I said, my background is fitness. Well, I guess I didn't say that, but I'm saying it now. My background is fitness. So I work with a few health and fitness brands, producing their content, their social media. I don't really do social media management anymore just because that kind of drove me nuts, to be honest, and requires a lot of patience. So tried to step away from that. And I'm more so just on the actual creation storytelling
What?
process, which I love. That's
You
where I
like
thrive.
filming? Like,
Yes. Yeah.
okay.
Filming. Yeah. So I do, my style is more of the kind of raw, real, authentic, like human POV.
Mhm.
That's my type of style. I can do some hype edits and stuff, but my preference will always be just shooting and creating through the human lens. That's always what I gravitate towards.
Very cool. Are you just like filming or are you actually like producing the reels and doing like all
I'm
the
produced.
things?
I'm the suite. Yeah, I'm
It's
the full
hard.
suite of production. I'm boots on the
That's
ground. I'm behind the
crazy.
lens, and then I get behind the laptop as soon as I capture the content, and then send it back to the brands,
Oh
so,
my
or the
god.
businesses.
That is so cool. So how in the heck did you get from fitness
Yeah.
to that? That's
Y-
crazy. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. So, okay, I'll try not bore the listeners too
No,
much
it's
with
not boring.
it.
I feel like I always think that, but then when I listen to people talk, I'm just like, wait, this is so like awesome. It's because you're so
Yeah,
used to yourself, but you
yeah.
know what I mean? So I'm
Yes,
excited.
that this is true. This is true. So, all right, way back when? No, so a few moons ago. Yeah, I started with just health and fitness. I went to school for exercise science, and I wanted to be a physical therapist originally,
Yeah.
but I got waitlisted at a couple grad schools, and I just one didn't lack the patience or the maturity to continue pursuing that. I was like, okay, I like working with people. I dig working out. Let's try and blend those and create that marriage between the two. So I started doing personal training, group fitness, did that for a little while. And then I actually worked for Metro Parks here in Nashville in more of a fitness coordinator position. So I would hire and recruit group fitness instructors. I would oversee a couple fitness centers, things like that. And yeah, it was, this was the major pivot from fitness into the storytelling role. I just found myself at work one day and I was quite literally, I think I was maybe 26 or 27 at the time, and quite literally pushing papers. I was doing payroll, I was doing all these things, and I felt so dead inside. I was like, there's no way that this is my life. This is not the end all be all for Copernicus. It can't be. I was just staring at the clock. I was just staring at the clock. It was terrible. Like I felt like I was dying inside. I was like, dude, you're not even 30 yet and you feel like this. This is no, we gotta do something different.
Yeah.
So I still stuck with the fitness route, but I wanted to just do my own thing. And I
Yeah.
didn't want somebody to set a ceiling for myself of what I could achieve and what I could obtain.
Mm.
That was the big turning point, I guess, for me in my late 20s. So I went, did my own thing, started personal training, started doing group fitness, and it was hard. It was a big reality check knowing that you're not getting paid every 2 weeks. You get paid for the work that you do, and it's not consistent, you know? So yeah, that was around 2019, 2020. We all know what happened around that time, and I had to pivot once again. So because gym
Yeah.
shut down, I didn't have enough of an online presence built with like online coaching and stuff.
Yeah.
So I got into this influencer management role for a supplement company, and that again tested my patience a lot because I was dealing with like the college demographic. And when I say just because they had 100K on Instagram, their egos could not fit in this room. It was wild. It was wild, and learned a lot from the back end of like socials and how influencers work and things like that. But there was no way in hell that I could have lasted there for much longer than what I did. And it was about 2 years. And I actually ended up getting let go from that
Oh my
job,
god.
actually,
Breaking
right
your heart.
around this time, 3 years ago. So
Mm.
it
Ah,
was,
ah,
yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah, yeah. So it's interesting the timing. But yeah, got called in. It was three founders. And I had a feeling, I was like, the vibe had been off for a couple weeks and they just weren't talking to me as much. I could
Mhm.
just tell it was still kind of startup culture. So I was like, I know my position is expendable. I'm probably going to get the
Yeah.
can. And they called me in. They're like, "Oh, we love you, CJ," and blah blah blah, and gave me the whole runaround. And then they just came around to the main point. Hey, we're gonna have to let you go. We had to make some cuts. And Madison, when I say, because I've tried to attempt my business multiple times and I failed multiple times. Uh, Two times specifically, I dedicated seasons of my life and it just didn't work. This was the third time. And when I say I was so calm when I received that news that I was getting let go, I almost surprised myself. I heard the news and it was almost like a weight off of my shoulders, knowing that Copernicus, you can actually commit to just you like for the first time in your life, you can do this thing, right?
Yeah.
And meanwhile, most people would say like, "Oh, the world's crashing down. Oh God, I lost my job. I'm hopeless." I don't know what it was. I was just super optimistic at the time, even though it was like literally like a week before
Like,
Christmas that I got let go. Uh, but yeah, I just took it as no. I mean, most would perceive it as obstacle, but I just was like, this is opportunity. This is your time to actually just freaking run with it. And you know, I made a commitment to myself at that in that moment. You either do it now and you bet on yourself quite literally for the first time in your life, or you put it to bed. You don't ever think about your business again. And I didn't
wow.
negotiate with myself. I had to be so firm. That was the thing that I lacked before. I didn't have firmness with my goal. I didn't have firmness with the business. I didn't believe in it enough. And for some
Mhm.
reason, I don't know if it was a sign from above or whatever it was, but I just felt in that moment that this is my time. And so since then, we've been building the business, and it's been a very long road. The first 2 years were just survival, and this is the first year, third year, that it actually feels like I have somewhat of a business. So that was a very long-winded response.
No,
Yes.
I love long-winded.
Yeah.
I first, I mean, I don't know you that well, but I'm very proud of you. I don't know
Thank
if
you.
I can say that, but I'm so proud of you for like taking that leap and doing that because a lot of
Yeah.
people don't. Um, and second, I feel like I have so many questions because I feel like I'm going through some of the things that maybe you were experiencing when you were like, it's time to go all in for all these
Mhm.
things. And one thing I was thinking about was like when you kept saying like this made me feel alive and this made me feel like dead inside.
Mhm.
Like I feel like sometimes I don't know about you, but sometimes for myself, like I have a hard time trusting like, okay, just because I have this feeling, I'm gonna go all in because of this feeling, not from anything necessarily like tangible that's like been
Mhm.
shown to me yet, but just because I'm feeling that I want to and because something else feels wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
it's information, but it's like kind of I don't know, it's like kind of a trust fall to
Mhm.
go off by what you think could work, but you actually don't know yet.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm curious like what that was like for you to be like, I'm gonna go all in. I don't know where it's gonna go, but like I'm gonna
Yeah.
try. Like, was that scary for you? Did you have faith? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, all the all the things, honestly, all the emotions, all the feels. I was very much in my feels the first
He's in his feels.
2 I was in my feels the first 2 to 3 months, especially after getting let go, because you just by default, you're gonna feel lost. You're literally on your own. There is no paycheck coming in, and your bank account's going down simultaneously, right? So it's a very unnerving feeling.
Yeah.
Um, it's essentially a do or die mentality. I know that sounds extreme, but if you wanna make your
Yeah.
dream work, it requires that. And again, with another non-negotiable with myself, I told myself this time, you give yourself no other option but to succeed. And if you have that level of determination, you will. That's just human nature.
Oh,
They literally, if there's nothing, you don't provide yourself an alternative, there's only one option, you will find a way to make that one option work. And it was rough. I mean, I no BS. I was eating like ramen for several weeks. Like I was, if it wasn't on sale at the grocery store, I didn't buy it, and I only ate enough to like suffice my needs. That was it. There was nothing extra. Going out to eat was not even an option. Going out anywhere, doing anything was not even an option. I didn't even consider that. But
yours.
yeah, so that was the real for the first few months, and it was hard.
Oh,
When they say entrepreneurship is a lonely path, it's extremely lonely, especially in the beginning,
oh my gosh.
because your vision, nobody really gets it except for you, right? You have this wild concept idea, you want to change the world, whatever, and nobody's going to actually understand that until you do. And it's a
Yeah,
long path to get there. So
it
yeah,
is.
I like that you said trustful. I think that was, yeah, I don't know exactly what I fell back on. I think I just realized that there were countless and countless individuals that have achieved massive success. And I literally had asked, like, why not you? You know, you're more than capable. You just have to do it. That was it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, yeah, it is such a trust fall, and I think it's, like, very I think the financial piece, I think, is a thing that holds a lot of people back, and yeah, it's like you have to make money for yourself, and I think a lot of people have, like, a full-time job or a side job or something they're
Mhm.
doing to sustain themselves, but I guess, like, what are your thoughts on financially? Like, do you believe in, like, people just trust fall into
Mm.
things, or do you think, like, have a side job and, like, wean off of it, or, like, what? Because as much as, like, following your dreams is important, it's also, like I'm sure it was really hard,
Oh, yeah.
like, not eating a lot. I wonder if you did you even tell people that? Like, that's so hard, like,
No.
that can feel really vulnerable, and, like, I think that piece, the logistical piece of finances is very frustrating when
Hmm.
you just wanna follow your dreams, but it is something to think about.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I think that's a great question, honestly, because I feel much of your audience could really relate on that, that are
Yeah.
contemplating doing their own thing, just taking the leap. I think it's very situational in terms
Yeah,
of whether you should have a side thing or whatever, or quit your job. It's like maybe you should just keep working your job and build the side thing simultaneously.
totally.
It's going to be a
Yeah.
lot more to juggle and balance. But
Mhm.
again, it's so dependent on the individual situation. The
Totally.
only, I guess, kind of caveat with that is because, so for example, the ramen phase, I was doing DoorDash and stuff like that just to make
Oh my
anything, like,
gosh, yeah,
literally just to make anything. And this is actually the first time I've ever shared this publicly. But yeah, I mean, I
yeah.
was doing DoorDash and was, looking at starting Uber and stuff. But I kept thinking every time I would pick up, I would pick up an order. It's wild how just this would light something up in me. I was thinking, this is one more time that you're not working on your business, right? And so every ride, like I was essentially there, you can't do that simultaneously. So that's something that I would just reiterate to your listeners, that yes, you
Mhm.
can have a side hustle, but if you pour more into your side hustle, that is your hustle. You will never be able to pour that much into your passion if you're trying to do them in tandem. And so that's just
Yeah,
something to kind of keep in mind, because I have several friends too. They're scrappy, they got grit, and I love it, and they're doing multiple hustles. But just realize, like, if you put side hustle intention and focus into your passion, it will always be a side hustle. It will never be your main thing.
yeah. Oof, that hits, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
no, you're right."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it is it's so true. Do you feel like when you were talking earlier about how it's like a lonely path,
Mm,
I feel like I relate a lot to that. One, because I feel like a lot of people aren't being entrepreneurs, a lot of people don't want that, and I feel like at least for me being in the Midwest, I feel like a lot of people are more focused on like settling down, family life, like working the
right.
9 to 5, that culture, so it's lonely because of that, but it's also like it is you and your
Hmm.
vision, and no one else sees it, no one else gets it, no one else necessarily believes in it, and you have to trust in it.
Hmm.
Um, and I saw this thing today that said like creatives are also really sensitive, so they really
Hmm.
need support. And yeah, it's like it's lonely, but it's also like, do you feel like you found people that are doing somewhat similar enough stuff to you, or like people who are like gonna listen to you, even if it's like a therapist or like a parent, or people who are like pushing you along the way or like listening?
Yeah, my journey, man, I'm just reflecting back on that first year. It was rough. It was a very hard
Yeah.
year. When I say I feel like I aged 10 years in probably 4 months, I legit feel like I aged a lot those years, just
I feel like
because
I'm a
I
grandma now.
literally I felt like old man status. Like, get the AARP card, right? Like, I was just, it was just so draining, because you're just working your ass off. You're doing all the reach outs. You're just trying to get any chance for work and business. I was living in the DMs. I was living in emails, and I was cold calling and all this stuff. And it's just, you're doing
Mhm.
this day in and day out, and there's no return. So it makes the journey even lonelier and that much more like just intense. But yeah, for me, this is something that I don't really recommend to people, but I kind of just went through this season of no. I said no to everything. I said no to people would ask to hang out, they'd ask to go get coffee. And in my mind, again, I don't recommend this to people just because it's kind of unhealthy, but it was so transactional in my mind to where if this doesn't make me money, I'm not going to do it. Is the thing, because I was like, it's taking away from the business. It's taking, and I just straight up, I told you, like, the bank account was going down, and that's all I could focus on.
Yeah,
Um, and so I just had to pour everything into it. And that meant saying no to anything and everyone. And I I don't regret it because it got me to where I am now. And I actually have not just a job, but an act like a business.
yeah.
But it was rough. It was rough, and I did lose a lot of friends,
Wow.
because again, nobody understands the vision like you do, and nobody ever will. No matter how successful you get 6, 7, 8 figures, whatever it is. Your vision is always going to be your vision, and going to be the only person that can articulate it the way that you see it.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I I didn't personally know how to articulate my vision, so it was just even harder at that time. I was like, I got all this stuff going on in my
Yes.
head, but I can't explain it to people. And I just kept telling myself that people wouldn't understand. And that was just a very
Mhm.
narrow minded outlook. That was, yeah. So if I could go back and do one thing, I would have let people in sooner for sure.
Yeah. I'm thinking of like this cheesy quote that you're gonna like hate that I'm
I,
saying.
I love cheese. I love the cheesiness.
Okay, good. But it's actually it's so true. Okay, it's like the whole like if you go if you want to go far, you go together. If you want to
Hmm.
go fast, go alone or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think like when you put your head down and just focus on less things and focus on your vision, you're gonna get there really fast. But then it's also like when you look up, it's like the other important part of life is like who you're sharing it with.
Hmm.
I think the two most important things in life is who you love and what you're here for.
Hmm.
And I think it is hard to bring those both with you.
Yeah.
So there's like many methods of doing it, but finding support somewhere in it is important. Um, yeah, finding
Yeah.
people that are genuinely want to support you, not people that are trying to use you or not trying to people who are trying to, you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah, for sure. I think, even if I know we keep saying they're never going to really fully understand your vision,
yeah,
but I think just keeping your heart open to people is a huge
yeah,
shift that anybody can make, no matter what chapter of your entrepreneurial journey you're in.
mhm,
Just don't close off to people because
yeah,
people are going to, if, you literally just said like the head down. If you have your head down, you can't see what's around you, right? You can't actually
yeah,
see where you're going. Yes, you can be focused, you can be very intense with what you're doing, but
mhm,
people around you are going to be able to offer that insight and perspective that you personally don't have. And that can actually propel your business. That's something that I didn't realize until about year two, year
yes,
three. And so it really is the people around you. And, I don't think that quote's too cheesy. I've definitely used that quote multiple
yeah,
times, but I appreciate it because it is very true. I lived this lone wolf mentality for so long. And I was thinking, oh, I can do this. I can scale to 10K a month or whatever on my own. It's like, no, you can't.
totally.
Probably not.
Probably
It's
not. Probably
probably not.
can't.
Despite what these gurus are, pushing out online, just trying to sell courses and stuff like that, it's like they're not actually scaling to that point alone anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that was a big thing for me, and I think something that your listeners really should just take into account. It's yes, you can do it alone, but only for so long, and then you're just going to start burning from both ends, and you'll get burnt out, and you'll lose the passion that you had in the beginning.
totally. And all humans, like, I feel like everyone's different, but at the base of it, I think we all have certain core needs, and one
Hmm.
of it is connection.
Yeah.
And I think something I've really found from, I would say most people in my life are not doing similar things to me. Like, my
Right.
brain is literally like crazy. Like, all day, I'm like thinking, like, every night, I'm like, like, I'm piecing things together. I'm like, how do I do this? How do I do this? How
Yeah.
do I make it all happen? And I think what I found to be helpful is not necessarily having people understand because they personally are doing it, but because they're willing to understand and because
Mm.
they're willing to listen. And I think that those are the two types of understanding that I think I was looking so much for people who are doing the same thing or similar. And
Hmm.
there's just not.
Right.
Like, no one's doing the exact same
Yeah.
thing as you. Having entrepreneur friends is great, and having
Yes.
people who get that world is great. But having people that just like love you and are
Yeah.
willing to like listen and support you, even if it's just like one person or your
Yeah.
therapist, or like your one friend or your
Yeah.
mom or whatever.
Yeah. And
Um,
that's such a good point. Because what we don't realize is there's so many more people that are willing to take the time to at least try to understand, even if they don't fully understand it. We just need to open ourselves to that possibility because those people are out there. It's just we
yeah.
all have cheerleaders behind us. Just sometimes
Yeah.
we're not looking is the thing, or we're not looking through our
We're not
peripheral. Or
looking. We're
we're
like,
just not looking is the thing. We're
we're
so head down. I'm like, there's people they're trying. Oh, like they believe in you, but we're so closed off that we don't realize that. But those people are there. There's people like whether it is family or loved ones, or if you don't have that in your life, you probably got a ride or die tribe that's just they root you on no matter what you do is the thing. This is the
yeah,
time to lean on them.
totally. Yeah. I think that part of the reason, like, I don't know if similar for you, it might be a little different, but at least for me, I feel like part of the reason I isolated from other people is because I have those moments is because I feel like it almost validates what I'm doing. I'm like, if nobody else gets it and
Mm,
it's just me doing this, then it validates the parts of it that are really hard. And when you can kind of like disconnect yourself from the world a little bit or what other people
yeah.
are doing, maybe not hurt as much that maybe like you are kind of on your own path and you are maybe missing out on some things that other people are doing that you want, but
Yes.
you're one human and you can't do it all. So
Right.
I think for me, sometimes I use it like sometimes I just am like, I'm on my own path. I'm doing my own thing. Like I don't
Hmm.
need anyone or whatever because it's my way of like validating that like I feel sometimes like not weird, but like just very like like just like different
Yeah.
sometimes, and I think it soothes that part to be like, well, if I'm different, then I'm gonna be different. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting how the brain works with that because in our
Yeah.
mind, we think if we're going against the grain, we're doing the right thing, which in entrepreneurship, yes, because it means you're building something truly unique to you.
Mhm.
But we need to realize you can do both. You can still
Yeah.
be the trailblazer and still have people in your life, which is such a simple, like, it's just such a simple parallel, but you really can do both. It's just shifting your mind from all of one versus all of one over here, and or an all or
Totally.
none mentality, I guess you could say. But yeah, because I
Love
thought the
that.
same thing. Like I love that you were saying because I was literally just nodding in my head. I was thinking, yep. It's like, oh, I'm just doing my own thing, so that means I must be doing the right thing, and nobody gets it. Well,
Oh my
there
god.
are people out there. We just have to like be willing to share it because when I started, I didn't even really share my vision as a thing. I just kept keeping it to myself. And
Yes.
I wonder why nobody knew about my brand or what I was doing. I was like, well, Copernicus, you're not really telling anybody. So that's probably why.
Exactly. Yeah, and then I think by, like, opening up and, like, sharing even moments of it, like, you get to see, like, one, who is gonna be able to meet you there with, like, support, and
Hmm.
also, like, letting yourself be wrong, letting yourself have love and support instead of constantly being like, "Well, nobody wants to be there. No one cares what
Hmm.
I'm doing. I'm all alone in it." But then you're, like, never extending the opportunity for anyone to, like, love you there or, like, be
Yeah.
there for you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
When we learn to drop the ego is when we grow. And that's something that it's just, it's so real. I mean, that may be my little dose of cheesy, but it's just, I had to lose the ego, and then quite literally, your life can change completely. But you just have to be
totally.
willing to let go of that.
Totally. I think something too I find, like, as I'm going into entrepreneurship and all the things that I wanna do, like, I see people, like, the greatest of the greatest, like, I don't want their lives, but I'm, like, trying to find a form of my own that contains all the other pieces. Because when
Yeah.
you're a human who I don't know, like, I'm like, I wanna have a family one day, and I
Hmm.
want to, like I have so many passions, I have so many, like, random hobbies, there's so many things that I wanna do,
Yeah.
but I also don't wanna go to the top and just be like, "I'm just this one thing,"
Hmm.
and I don't have family, I don't have anything that I love,
Right.
like, I think, um, for weird context, I'm also pursuing outside of this, like, being a like, I wanna do, like, celebrity makeup,
Oh,
really weird,
okay. Hey,
and, like,
that's
makeup,
okay.
TV. There's
That's
too
cool.
many
Yeah.
things there's too many things going on, but
Yeah.
I see, like, makeup artists that are, like, at the top, and they don't have all they do is work.
Hmm.
They don't have family, they all have only, like, fake friends and all
Hmm.
these things, and, it's like, I would never wanna live a life like that, so I think the coolest thing about entrepreneurship that I found is that, like, you can make your life be any way you want, like,
Hmm.
you can create a life where you do certain things or don't, and, like, you
Yeah.
don't have to do like, you get to build the business, but it's also, like, I think it's kind of building your life.
Mm.
Um,
Mm. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, you said it very well.
Like,
It's
just
yeah,
thinking
no,
out
you
loud.
did. No, you did, and I love that you're trying to pursue all these different things because that's the
It's
beauty of
mental.
this game. Not even the entrepreneurship. It's just that's the beauty of the game of life, really, because we're always the
Yeah,
architect, and we forget that we can truly carve and create and whatever in any way, shape, or form that we want. And there
yeah,
is no rule book for life. I think people are so busy trying to play by the rules or just this is how it
yes,
should be. There is no should be. It's just whatever you want it to be. But like we have so much more control than we ever give ourselves credit for. And I've told people, yeah, we have so much control. We have all the control. In reality, we have all the control. There's plenty of things outside of control. I'm not like really referring, but in terms of our individual lives and what we want to pursue and
yeah,
what we want to build for ourselves, that's fully in our control. We just have to take action, and it's going to hurt in the beginning, and that's okay. You have to feel hard. A lot of people are afraid to feel what hard feels like, but hard is a prerequisite to what you want to get. That is necessary. That's the cost of entry, right? If you want to play this game, you gotta feel the hard. That's just what it is, and hard takes hard, and that's a great thing because you're only going to get stronger in the process. I don't know
oh my
where that came from, but I just
no, that was so
feeling
fucking good, I was like,
it.
yes.
I was feeling it.
Really amazing. No, I think, like, not only to get the actual thing that you want, but to, like, become the person that you want to be inside that can hold it, that can I don't know, like, as much as entrepreneurship is amazing for the actual tangible thing, like, I love almost even more, like, who I am becoming in the
Mm.
process, and the
Yes.
way my relationship to
That was
myself.
snaps. Yes, yes. That's that's literally what it is, and that's how I'm wired as well. It's for me, and this stems back to just even with fitness as a thing beyond or before building the business. For me, it's always been process over final product, journey over
Yes.
destination.
I don't even
Because
wanna arrive. I'm
yeah,
like
I mean, because the thing is, when you get to, and you kind of reference, or you were alluding to it just a moment ago, when you get to the top, you're at the peak. It is lonely for a reason, right? So your goal should, one, try to become the most complete version of yourself along the way and pick up as many lessons, but also try and pick up and bring as many people with you to the top. And then it's not
I
so
love
lonely,
that.
right?
Yeah,
And that's been a big, that's been kind of just my, a bit of more of my ethos or just focus for this year is just how can I just truly create community and keep that at the forefront, right? Like complete polar opposite of my lone wolf start. And now I just want all the people around me because I'm like, we can all win. And not in like a
yeah,
cheesy cliche sense, but really it's just everybody has a unique vision, even if they work a 9 to 5. Like, I'm not knocking 9 to 5 at all. It's just, even if they have that, they still have something they maybe just want to build, or they think it's stupid or nobody understands. I'm like, no, I mean, if you keep telling yourself that and giving yourself that dialogue, it's probably never going to happen. Right. So you got to like rewrite the narrative of what you're telling yourself. That's a big thing. But yeah, I mean, the peak doesn't always have to be lonely. That's essentially what I was getting at. It's just, but again, you have to rewire how you're looking at it and the journey along the way towards that peak.
yeah. I'm curious of, like, where do you wanna be? I know that's such an annoying grandparent asking question, but, like, where like, I feel like we have a vision and then we're walking toward it and, like, it changes, but,
Yeah.
like, you kinda have a North Star that you're walking to at least to guide you as it does
Yeah.
change. What is your current, like, not only vision for business, but for your life? Like, what do you see for yourself that you're, like, excited and motivated to walk toward right now?
That's a great question. So my whole thing is, it's my tagline on socials and just what I always lean into is just culture, right? I always say I like to build culture.
Yeah.
And so whether that is, hosting more community events, things like that, but ultimately I just want to make as many people feel seen and less alone in their struggle as I possibly can while I'm here. That's that's really what it is. Now
Yeah.
from a tangible standpoint, I can't really give you a definitive answer. I do
That's
want to
okay.
do more of this. I want to just share the good word. I want to do more public speaking because I love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and just getting involved in community more. But yeah, that's really at the core of everything is just I like to, not I like to. That's what gets me up in the morning is just helping people feel seen.
I love that. Do you feel like it's kind of a weird question, but do you feel like purpose in you? Like does it do you like wake up and feel that like every day? Like do you feel like it like fuels you and motivates
Mm,
you? Like for me, I always explain it to people. I'm like I just feel like it's a visceral like
mm,
it's such a fulfilling feeling to get up and pursue and fulfill this like
yeah.
passion in me. I don't
Yes.
know.
No, no, it's not a weird thing. If anybody can relate, I get it for sure.
Yeah.
And I can say I do now, but I didn't always. And
Yeah.
I think that's why it's really tough for a lot of people is because they don't have a fire in them. There's nothing that really like lights them up to get up out of bed. And so they wonder
Totally.
why they're just waiting for the day to end and go back to sleep or kick on Netflix or whatever. It's because you're not doing anything that's lighting you up. Right. And
Yes.
that's such a huge thing. So if I could reinforce to everybody is just think about if there was just one thing that just makes you smile every single day,
Mhm.
what is that thing? Right.
Yeah.
And okay, it's don't put the cart before the horse. Don't think about how to monetize it or anything. But that's what people do. That's how we think about it. And they're like,
Yeah.
don't think about the profit aspect. Just focus so much on the passion component and then the profit will follow, but you got to lean into that first. It has to light you up. So
Mhm.
yes, now I do feel that I actually have purpose and my days do feel fulfilled, and it's because truly of the people around me that have brought out the best of me.
I love that.
And they've just made me realize so much that I had so much more to offer than I realized, and again, that was a product of letting people in.
Yeah, oh my gosh. I feel like people around me are constantly like, "You're really hard on yourself." And I think it's like you have high expectations. You're like,
Yeah.
"Damn, like you need to like work on how you say talk about yourself because you're doing
Yes.
good."
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
totally.
sure. It's a yeah, I mean, the dialogue and the narrative we tell ourselves is super powerful. I always tell people like, words bear weight, and you have to really sit with that because, you
Yeah.
know, especially us being high achievers, we want to conquer the world in our own way, whatever that means to us.
Yeah.
Doing celebrity makeup, things like that, and so whatever that entails for us, but you have to give yourself grace too, and just really, you have to be your own cheerleader, especially in the beginning So if you're just knocking yourself the whole time or thinking I'm not worth like whatever it is, and just being negative, 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 that
Mhm.
feeds into your subconscious. And the thing is, it's like your inputs become your outputs, right? That is part of your inputs. So if you keep feeding yourself negative stuff, what do you think's going to happen on the outside? You're not going to get the things you want. People are going to not be attracted to you or gravitate towards you because you're not exhibiting
Mhm.
the energy that
Totally.
is, reflecting that. So I think that's a big thing for people to keep in mind, is just your inputs are very powerful, for what you want
Yeah.
to actually produce. But yeah, if especially for the high achievers, yeah, don't be so hard on yourself, and be sure to celebrate those little wins, because in the
Mhm.
beginning that's all you have, and you need to lean on everything you have in the beginning.
My gosh, yeah, totally. I had a friend the other day that I was saying, I was like, "Oh, I just, like I feel like, um, I'm like, being very hard on myself," and she's like, "You when you want so much for your life, it can be easy to be really hard on yourself
Mm,
because you have, like, such a big mountain that you're
mm,
climbing." Like, and I think that, which is totally fine. People who aren't wanting to pursue an entrepreneur life or, do a million things, that's
right.
so fine, but, like, I think that if you are going above and beyond, so it's going to sometimes feel above and beyond in your
Yeah.
experience, like, how you're not having just, like, a regular, like, achievable life. You're essentially pushing yourself. So
Hmm.
the things that it's going to feel hard. And
Yes.
there are days, like, where you're gonna wanna be hard on yourself, but I think I always remember, I'm like, that it is hard. It
Yeah.
isn't past the normal level of hard, so it's going to
Yes.
feel like that a lot.
Yes. And
But that
and
doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong.
yeah, exactly. And I think it really is a constant just balancing act with ourselves, right? To where we know we're supposed to feel it, but it's also don't beat yourself up and do this whole self-sabotage thing, right? Because there's a difference between constructive criticism with yourself versus just self-sabotage. And
Mhm.
we can often conflate the two. And I've been a victim, or a victim. I've been guilty of that numerous
Yeah.
times, because that's just our mentality. We're always trying to strive for more. We're trying to do more. It's not good enough. Don't get complacent.
Mhm.
All these things are just going on in our head.
So
And
much.
it just has to, as long as the things that we're feeding ourselves are still contributing to the goal and not just making us feel worse about ourselves, then they have a place. But if not, get that out of here. Like, I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, and it's not like a light switch. It doesn't just happen overnight. But the more you start just being really just aware of what you're telling yourself, I think
Mhm.
that can make a massive difference.
Totally, and catching yourself in those moments, like, I have moments where I put myself down or say things, I'm like, I think it's almost as a way to make other people feel comfortable
Mm,
in weird ways sometimes where you're like, "Oh, it's not that cool that I'm doing this," or whatever, and it's like it's learning to let other people have their experience and
yeah.
learning to let yourself be proud of yours if that's the experience you wanna have,
Yes.
has been something that's been, for sure, hard for me.
Yeah.
Like, letting yourself take up space and letting yourself be proud of yourself and letting yourself be big. And if people aren't able to carry that, you don't have to, like, be small. You can
Right.
be kind, but you don't have to be small.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. Again, it's you can have both is the thing. People think you have to pick and choose one end of the spectrum. It's like I made a post on TikTok recently to where it's just you can be kind,
Yeah.
but you don't have to be soft. Is the thing. A lot of
Oh,
people think that
I
you
love
have to. It's these like polar opposites, right? It's like you can be humble, but you can still be aggressive, like be intense with your goals and things. But it's like I mean, it's true though, because people are like, oh no, I don't want to rock the boat too much. It's like sometimes the boat's meant to be rocked. And if you want to get what you want out of life, you got to be willing to do that. And that's okay. And not everybody's going to understand it or like you for it. But it doesn't mean you disrespect people in the process or talk negatively to them. It's just your goal or aim is to try to get them to come into your fold and understand. And if they don't get it, wish them well. And you lose nothing by doing that. Right. And so that's just, you can have both. And I think that is essentially the human experience, right? You need to be able to feel the entire spectrum of emotions and thoughts, and not tell yourself that it's bad to feel this way or whatever. It's like, no, it is what it is. Like, not to say that phrase like that. It is what it is. Didn't mean to say it like that. But yeah, but it truly, it is, the feeling is the feeling. And if you feel it in that moment, embrace it, try and understand why you're feeling it and what role does it play in that moment, because every moment has meaning. And so we just need to really recognize that.
Yeah. I love that. What would you say your advice would be to people who are starting the entrepreneur journey? And maybe anything that, like, you feel like you learned that you wish you knew?
So I think I've touched on it a couple times regarding letting people in and being more open to that for sure. You can enter a season of no like I did, which will allow you to get a lot done, but I think the world will give you signs when people are trying to get into your life in a good way, to where it's not going to distract you, it's not going to deviate you from the goal. Um,
Mm.
I think just being more open to that for sure. Just from a reality check, it's going to be the hardest thing you've ever done in your life. 100%. It is just because a lot of people, like my story, for example, they only knew me for fitness. That's the
Yeah.
whole thing. Is like he's just a shredded dude online or whatever. And it's like, okay, I'm trying to get away from just the superficial image of that. And I had to essentially, I truly started from scratch with this whole storytelling, and through that human lens that I referred to, just the very raw, real, like, because not many people do that is a thing. They do vlogs and stuff, but again, I knew how I shoot, and it's just very unique. So if you're trying to build something completely novel, completely new to the space, and nobody knows that you do that or have the skill set, just understand that it's going to be very hard. uh, you're not really going to get much return for a while, and you're going to put in a lot of work for very little return. So be willing to do free work. That's another thing too. You have to prove your efficacy with whatever your craft is, and that's
Totally.
something. Yeah, I mean, it's just like people expect they they pitch to a couple brands where they send a few cold DMs, cold calls, and you think, oh yeah, I should just get paid. It's like you haven't proved yourself. And so I had to realize that. I was like, I'm talking the game, I'm talking the talk, but I got to walk the walk first before I get paid anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a universal standard that people should just be aware of. But that's just a reality check. You probably won't get paid for a while. That I'm trying to think of other things. I'm trying to think of more uplifting insight. Um,
You're like, "You're gonna be broke."
yeah, you're gonna be broke for a little bit, but you really have
Yeah.
to have an unwavering belief in yourself. And I know that sounds so cheesy, but you can't just say, "Oh, I believe in me," and shout the affirmations in the mirror. To your core, you have to lean so hard into who you are and believe with every fiber of your being that you're going to make it work. And if you do, it's that whole the do or die, no other option but to succeed. You will
Mhm.
find a way to make it work. It will probably take longer than you anticipate, but guess what? If you're trying to build something for life, all you have is time.
Ugh, I love that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, totally. And I
Yeah.
liked what you said too, just about the free work. I'm just thinking about like every entrepreneurial thing I've done, whether it's this, like having episodes with people who are legit to reach out to other people who are
Mhm.
legit, or just even having experience before getting, you know, other people that I wanted
Mhm.
on, like, or with makeup, like you have to have a portfolio before you can ask to do other people's makeup or things like you always need that experience. But I think it's also a good way to learn how to believe in yourself and like see
Yes.
what you can do,
Yes.
and feel really grounded in that too.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Because the free
yeah,
work, just an additional point on that, the free work is only to give you more confidence in your craft because it's just
exactly.
reps. It's just giving you more reps is the
Yes.
thing, right? And so, people are trying to pitch these big deals and they haven't really done anything, or they've only done 10 reps or 50 reps of
Yeah.
something. So like for example, if they've produced 50 videos, I'm like, that's nothing. You haven't done anything, right? Like I mean,
Mhm.
in the grand scheme of things, that's so low volume, and you think that you're just
Yeah.
going to make it to high ticket. Well, you're kind of living in fantasy land, right? But beyond the monetary aspect, it's the whole process thing that we were referring to before. The more
Yeah.
reps you do, the more grounded, and the more you're going to be able to speak with conviction about what
Mhm.
you do. And you're just like, I'm so freaking confident now because I've done it. I have the proof behind me, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, that's a kind of a hidden perk, I would say, of free work. Yes, you're not getting the immediate return, but you're
Mhm.
building a hell of a lot of a skill set.
Totally, totally. And I think just like with everything we're talking about, I've been thinking of like just like it is like truly like you said the hardest journey, but I think that the fire that comes from actually like wanting to get out of your bed in the morning and have something to live for is like the best gift I've, it's worth every hardship. It's worth everything because you become so much more self-aware and self-secure. You develop so much. Um, I know all the spiritual girlies on TikTok are always talking about this, like entrepreneurship is a spiritual journey, but like it is, it's a
Yeah.
self-development journey. It's the life journey. And I think that if you have any sort of fire to like lead into it, because it's like, I I don't know. For me, like I struggle with depression and it's like what it's my antidepressant.
Mm,
It's my makes me want to be here. It makes
right on.
me excited to be alive. And I'm sure you feel that way of just like having
Yes.
something you can work on, a project so good for people who are creative, people who might feel a little different or misplaced in the world, or people who want more. It's just, yeah, I think it's just, yeah, I don't know, important.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know you're saying the TikTok girl is with the spirit, but I honestly feel that
No.
entrepreneurship really is kind of the essence of the human spirit because you
Yeah,
feel everything. There
everything,
is no,
everything.
you have no choice. You have no choice but to feel all the highs, the lows, and
Mm,
everything in between. And that
yeah,
everything is pretty heavy at times, but you find so much of yourself in the process. And I think it's just it allows your brain to just release, right? Because
oh
this
my
box
gosh,
right here, we've
there's
got
so much I'm like,
we've got so much
literally.
going on in here all day, every day, and there's so much that we want to share with the world. That's why I love things like what you people like you. It's just doing this for the world, being able to share stuff like this is so much more impactful than a lot of people realize because there's so much that we have that we want to share and do. And I feel that blazing your own trail, building a business, whatever, just pursuing something that's beyond yourself, that is the spark of the human experience. That's the spark of the human spirit. And no matter what it is, whether it is building a business or just doing something that scares the shit out of you, just do it.
Mhm.
Like give yourself a chance to feel what that feels like. And once you
Yes.
do, you'll never go back. That's the thing. You just have to have, whether it's just one occurrence or kind of a culmination of snowball, you get a taste of what life actually feels like versus just coasting and existing, you will literally never look back.
Oh my gosh. I was just gonna ask you if you had any words for anyone who's feeling really afraid. So I was like, well, you can answer
Yeah.
that. That was
Yeah.
so good. But yeah, I had a friend once who was like, "What do you do after like work?" When I was at my 9 to 5, she's like,
Hmm.
what do you do after work?" She's like, "I just like walk my dog and like I watch TV." And she's like, "I can't think of things to do." And I was like, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
there's so much to do.
Yeah.
To do. There's so much to
Yes.
do."
Yes, there is, but that's how individuals like ourselves think. And but honestly, that is the norm of just
Mhm.
clocking out of work, walking the dog, because you have to infuse life into your life. And so what I mean by that
Yes.
is like you have to
Intentional.
infuse some kind of spark, something that gives you joy. That's why, I start super basic when people ask, or where should I start? Or I feel lost. That's why I
Yeah.
go to that fundamental question. What is one thing that just brings you joy or makes you smile? You don't have to think about it. Again, don't think about money. Don't think about anything. It's just like, if you could just do this and it makes you smile at the instant you wake up, what is that thing? Like that's it. And so for me, I distilled it down. Super. I practice what I preach. I love helping people feel seen. That's what gives me life. That is literally my pulse. Every single day. That is what I live for. And so that is just carried out in my work. I mean, literally just showcasing through a human lens. They feel seen, they feel appreciated. I kind of call myself a connoisseur of capturing those in between moments that you want to relive over and over again. They don't
Yep.
necessarily make the highlight reel, but once you capture them, you see them, it's like, damn, I remember exactly how I felt in that moment. That's part of helping people feel seen. And so, yeah, that's what I would just recommend to people is make it super basic. What makes you smile? What could you see yourself doing for, if not life, a really long time? And that might spiral into a lifelong passion and go from there. But don't overthink it. Like, don't overthink passion. Like,
Totally. And like,
yeah.
no, you can't. And that's
Yeah.
the thing too. It's like whatever you're passionate about, like you can make a world out of it. If you're like, I love to crochet or like something like I love to like make earrings or whatever. I'm like, yeah, you can make an Etsy shop out of it. You could do social media. Like
Yes.
we have so much as annoying and frustrating social media can be, it also opens up a whole world of
Yes.
so many things that like whatever you love, people are doing the weirdest shit as businesses. So like there's a market for something that you love.
Yes. Yes. Because that's one thing with TikTok. I was like many of us to where I was very close minded and I was like, no, that's for the teeny bops or
Yeah,
whatever. It's just
literally.
not, but really the past year and a half or so, I mean, so I started really going into TikTok probably December of 2024. And I only
Yeah.
had, I think, 3,400 followers. And now I have over 11,000. And I never
Yeah.
went viral. That was the biggest thing. And when I saw that, I put two and two together because I was looking at the content I was producing and it was just me being vulnerable, and especially as a
Yeah.
guy, which is just rare. We don't
Which
know how
yeah.
to articulate our feelings and things like, which I guess we fit that stigma of we don't know how to express our feelings, but that is the truth. And I mean, for many of us guys, we bottle up just so much stuff, and it's difficult. And so I felt with my platform I had somewhat of a responsibility because, again, your boy's an open book, and I just I just am. And so I wasn't afraid to do that. And once I just saw how it really just touched a lot of people's eyes, like, oh, this is something right here. And never did I go into it thinking that I'm going to monetize this, I'm getting into the creator program. That was never a thought. Never was it, I'm going to build my following. It was always build my community first, and then the following will just happen as a byproduct. That's it.
Yeah,
And
I
that's how
love
you build. I mean, I know that was kind of a random tangent segue
I
there,
love
but if people are wondering how to grow or just build a true community online, focus on community. Don't focus on the following, and it will
yeah,
happen.
I love
So,
that. People can feel like you talking to them because you're like talking to them versus like I'm just trying to get followers or whatever.
I mean,
Yeah.
the best compliment I've probably gotten online. I don't think she even really registered it when she said it. She was saying, you know, I love tuning into your stuff because it feels like a FaceTime call every single time. I'm just
Oh, that would
like,
make me cry.
I was like, oh, you want to say all it feels? I was thinking to myself, that is like, she had no idea how much that just touched me, but that's exactly what I wanted to feel like. I just wanted to feel like you're just hanging out with somebody that you, even though we haven't met, it feels like we've known each other for so long. And just to, yeah, just kind of a little escape from the chaos of every day. So, yeah, that was
No,
probably one of the best compliments I've ever received online.
oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I've gotten some good ones. I've also got some people say you need to stop moving your face so much because you're gonna get wrinkles. You get everything on there. You
Yes,
get
you
it
do.
all. And I'm like,
It's a wild place. It's the wild, wild west. So yeah, you got to be ready for whatever.
yeah, stay
So
true to yourself. Is there anything else you want to leave people with? Anything else on your heart? Anything else you feel like we didn't touch on that you want to make sure you share?
trying to think. I hope I offered some pause. I feel like I offered
Oh
just
my
such
gosh,
a
it was
raw, like
amazing.
I just offered such a raw viewpoint of entrepreneurship and building business. But just one thing I always tell people is just stay true to you. That's something that
Yeah,
I've lived by for pretty much my whole life. So before the
yeah,
whole I build culture and things like that, it's this world will try and change you and influence you and make you think and feel and act in ways that are not conducive to who you are.
yeah,
Remember your roots and don't ever forget them. Don't let a paycheck determine that. Don't let people around you, don't let any of
right,
that. You know, it's just block that shit out and just be so intentional with what you're doing. That's another thing too. It's intentionality will change your life.
mm,
So what I mean by that is stuff like this. You know, I'm not checking my phone. I'm not thinking about the meeting that I have, you know, tomorrow or whatever. It's just when you're so intentional with every single thing that you do, that's every interaction, that's every action, everything, your
yeah,
life gets purposeful by default. So if we want to return back to the whole how do you find purpose, start with being intentional and your life will change. That is something that I can absolutely stand by. Yeah, so those are the main things. It's just authenticity is undefeated and will be forever. So stay true to you and
totally.
just be intentional. Like don't start tomorrow. Just go ahead and start right now with being intentional.
Yeah, I love that. And being true to you is like, again, with entrepreneurship, like it's yours. So
Hmm.
if you're true to you and like not doing anything like, I think it's can be easy to want to chase followers or fame or whatever. It depends on what you're doing, but I think there's sometimes like not unethical, but there could be like ways to go about
Oh
things. And I
no.
think as long as you stay true to you, like you're building it around you and your life. So like you don't have to do things that are not you because
Yes.
that would be your business. So it's okay to like be like, I'm only doing it if it's good for me. And I can
Yeah.
say no.
Exactly, exactly. And it's just, you know, having enough conviction with yourself and what you
Yeah.
believe in to be able to say no because it's wild how people will sacrifice their integrity without thinking twice about it just for a paycheck. And
Yeah.
which, you know, hey, to each their own, it's your life, but will you be able to rest your head easy at night for the decisions that you made that day is the thing.
Totally.
Will you be able to look at yourself in the mirror and be okay with what you did even if it was at the expense of somebody else's trust, things like that? I'm like, no, I don't want that on my conscience, and that's worth so much more to me than a paycheck will ever be. So it's just like
Yeah.
integrity
Rather
over
eat
everything. Yeah,
ramen.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I love that. Well, where can people find you and what's next for you and how can they stay in touch and working with you or
yeah,
all the
yeah. So just Copernicus Johnson on all socials. TikTok and Instagram are the main ones that I'm consistent on. I would love to do. Everybody says I want to do YouTube. I've dabbled. It's just I've literally produced so much content that I just straight up don't have the bandwidth right now. So
a
TikTok and
lot.
Instagram for right now. But yeah, in terms of future things, I'll try have an answer for you in terms of my long term vision by the next time we chat. But yeah, just continue to build and I just get closer to that peak, but continue bringing as many people as possible with me. So
I love that. Yay. Well, thank you, and you don't need an answer. I think honestly having, like, a vision of, like, what you want, you'll always be working toward it,
Yeah.
and I can just sense that you're really, like, rooted in yourself and also just continuously, like I feel like you're really rooted in yourself, but also the journey, so I just feel like no matter what, you're gonna pivot and get there,
Thank you.
and I think it's cool too that, like, you're walking the walk, and I think I really like to have people like amazing like you that are you actually are doing what you're talking about, which is lived experience people can learn from, and it's like the integrity piece we talked about. So just thank you for being here, and also thank you for just caring and trying and being somebody who tries, because we really need that, and it's
Yeah,
nice for me
of
to see
course.
too.
Of
Yeah.
course. Really, thank you so much for the kind words. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your listeners' time.
Thank
And yeah, it was a privilege. So it
you.
was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.